I'm Cluiss-Fletcher, and I'm a storyteller. We begin tonight with breaking news after a home reportedly exploded. From the desk and from the field, for the past 3.5 years, I've guided the people of Ardmore through a pandemic, major elections, and dangerous winter weather. Roads are extremely icy, so my recommendation is to just stay home if at all possible. When banks are robbed. Christy, so far we don't know much, but police have confirmed a robbery happened this morning at Simmons Bank. When houses explode, I'm right there getting the facts. Called the police many times about his allegedly disturbing behavior, such as setting fire to brush like this in the street, relaying cautionary advice from officials, and finding the details the people who live here need to know. The jury says Brandon Dingman and Joshua Taylor are guilty of murdering Jared Lakey. My strong suit is breaking down data and major events to tell you who's really affected. The car drove across the median and into the building behind me. Don Ray Thomason owns the building next door, and he owns this property here, which you'll notice doesn't have a building on it. That's because a strong wind blew that building down last year. I'm here on Texaco Road near Highway 70, and the grass beneath my feet is nothing but ashes. I picked up a little bit so you can see. I shoot, write, edit, and present all of my stories myself, so I know they're clear, correct, and engaging. When an officer got out to make contact, here's what happened. I love being on the scene and asking questions that others shy away from.
I have no comments.
Do you think it could be frustrating for someone to get pulled over by your department for speeding when they've seen you also speeding? I tried the number just in case.
The party is not answering. Goodbye.
But after several years, I know Ardmore is more than just the hard news headlines. At 4.5 feet, you won't need to worry about sharks in these waters. She says her youngest was a little nervous, but the first day is a lot easier when your sisters are with you. I've been getting to know Ardmore, a place I now call home. Ardmore's first Boots, Badges, and Gurneys drive. The Scarecrow Contest is definitely one of my favorite traditions that Ardmore has. It's so fun to explore downtown, check out all the creativity, and I love to take a few pictures with the scarecrows. I've met friends through news, and sometimes my friends have become the news.
The smoke in the house was filling up our bedroom.
My truck wasn't where I parked it.
This community knows that my stories tell their stories.
Getting my resume ready. They've offered tuition free for some college. I applied for some of that. We'll see what happens. That's part of the plan I had, you know. And then, I don't know. There's only so much you can do.
Michelin employee Alex McGee says as his last day at Michelin gets closer, he wants his next career to be in Ardmore too.
It seems like everybody's just kind of coming together just to kind of help out because the community's kind of, going to hurt from this pretty bad.
My family and I moved here about 1.5 years ago to come work for Michelin. So we are looking to see if we can stay in the Ardmore area because we've really enjoyed living here. And so I wanted to see if there's anything that fits my career goals and my past.
Joseph Powells is also looking for something local with the right salary and benefits to support his family, but also a career he can get excited about.
I've got a background in oil and gas, so there's that. Obviously, being with Michelin for 1 year, it'd be good to look at maybe one of those companies. But I also like construction, so I'd like to see if there's something on that side.
This might be a chance to go to a different type of work than what I do now.
Derek Hewitt has worked at Michelin for 12 years.
I might not be getting released right now, but in the future, I would like to have an idea of where to go look for future employment.
After years of saving for retirement, he wants the next job to treat him well too.
I just talked to a company locally that's got pretty good comparable benefits to what we have that I didn't know that existed locally.
I'm not really sure what I'm looking for, but there were lots of opportunities inside there, and I spoke with Murray State College.
Maylee Bolding says she's looking at this fair as an opportunity to find something fun and interesting to do next.
You could do behavioral health, you could go back to school, you could be a nurse, you could be a truck driver if you choose to do that, which they made it sound great.
More than 700 people attended the fair, half of the 1,400 employees affected by the plant closure.
I think we're going to be okay.
I met with 2 residents who tell me they lost just about everything in Saturday morning's fire. But when I got here to the Lakeview apartment complex, management actually asked me to get off of the property. So instead, we spoke out here. Rivers and Jacob Williams told me they lost their dog Stitch in the fire.
All I could think was like my babies, my dogs.
From what the fire department said, Stitch had
gotten on top of Lilo and made it to where she wasn't the one getting burnt. And as the pictures that we have of him, he is very, very, very badly burnt.
Their other dog, Lilo, is getting treated for burns, too. The Williamses tell me they were out of town for a funeral when they learned their second-floor apartment had burned.
Yep, we built up everything and
We gotta redo it.
got to build it up all again.
Open up the front door, and that's when that big puff of black smoke came in. And all I seen was fire and embers. And that's when I went and got him up. And we got out as fast as we could.
Helen Traylor woke up to the smell of smoke. She and her husband raced to get out of the apartment.
We got around the building, and that's when the heat hit, because the entire front of the building was engulfed.
Her security camera capturing footage of the flames.
The fire trucks were already there at that time.
They were sitting there telling her, drop your baby, or your son will catch him. Because they was on the top floor, they could not get down.
The Ardmore Fire Department says the fire was caused by an electrical issue in the attic. Therefore, no criminal charges will be filed. 2 people were taken to the hospital early Saturday morning with non-life-threatening injuries.
I knew we were going to be okay because of him. I told my husband, I said, most main important thing out of all of this is our lives. Everything else is replaceable.
The Ardmore Fire Department tells me it's now up to the insurance company to decide if this was a freak accident or if somebody messed up.
Kids are happy to be back, and that's the most important thing.
Sulphur Public Schools Superintendent Matt Holder says early childhood, elementary school, and middle school students are back in their buildings.
Our high school is virtual today and will be for the remainder of the year.
That's due to water damage in the school. Around 40 students lost their home in the tornado, but Holder says even more students have family members who've lost jobs or businesses.
The nice thing about being in a small school is we know our kids, and our counselors know our kids, our principals know our kids, so we're trying to reach out to ones that we know and also talk to the teachers yesterday about identifying those that are having trouble with.
Handler says it's just learning that's going virtual. Extracurriculars are still on, so students can continue their hard work and staying connected with their friends.
Me and my mom, she works for the city of Sulphur, and we went into town about 12 o'clock that night and helped the EMS, and we ran waters to workers, maps to find people, shelters, and we didn't get home till about 5 a.m. One of my friends, her dad has a shop downtown, and it got destroyed, and so we got up at like 9 and cleaned it out, and then we left for Gulf State at 4 that same day.
Sulphur High School junior Landry Couch says busy days and sports competitions are a welcome distraction.
But, I mean, it was kind of good to get away from the town. I mean, everyone was still supporting us. I'm glad we've all come together in this time of need.
I've always been that guy, you know, oh, it's never going to hit. It's never going to hit. It never does. It always diverts around us. Don't mess around, because this time it did hit.
Brendan Kettner was watching the storms from a lookout tower when the tornado came in.
Tornado siren went off out where we live. I've never heard it go off, only the ones in town. That was the first red flag that I knew it was serious. And then immediately after the siren went off, our phones started saying, take shelter immediately. I looked at my friend, I said, we got to go now.
By the time I got to the front door, I knew it was too late.
Kettner's neighbor Tina Cook was woken up when her husband called to let her know there was a tornado near her home in Dixon.
So they were stuck. They had nowhere to go.
Not many people's going to get out of the shelter and go right into the middle of a tornado to get two old ladies, okay?
Kettner says he wouldn't recommend anyone else do the same thing, but he left the shelter to come find Cook and her friend, who were trapped in the RV park by fallen trees.
3 branches hitting my car. And I'll be honest with you, like, I thought I messed up. I was like, I should have stayed in the shelter.
Our hair straight up and, you know, ears popped and her car came up off the ground.
Cook says branches were flying, the rain was heavy, and it was so loud she couldn't hear anyone, and something kept hitting her.
Next day I noticed a lot of pecans on the ground. I guess it was pecans.
Cook says her friend's home and Brendan's home were both badly damaged.
I cheated death a few times that night.
But they're alive.
It's very nice to be living somewhere where everyone cares so much.
In Dixon, Cluiss-Fletcher, News 12.